So in this video we're going to show you what we think were the mistakes on our first two applications of CopperCoat, so it doesn't happen to you. Hi and welcome to Sailing Britican. I'm Simon, the skipper of Sailing Britican. CopperCoat, we've had it on the bottom of our boat for now 3 years and it hasn't been working very well for us. We've had two applications. We've had CopperCoat USA come out to check it and it's still not working great. CopperCoat UK contacted us and said they would come out and supervise reapplication and get it all sorted out for us, and we were very thankful for that. If you want to see the full story about our CopperCoat nightmare, we moved round to Clark's Court and we got hauled out on the 4th of December. They have good facilities there and a large crane which can handle the weight of our boat. And Clark's Court is in Grenada. So as you can see, the boat's been hauled out and it's in the sling. So Kim and I had the opportunity to check over the bottom and see how it was performing. And as you can see from the video, there was still a lot of barnacles on. And believe it or not, I'd been under for 2 hours about just over a month before with a 12-inch scraper, metal scraper, and scraping it all off. So you can see that it's not performing as it should be. Then the guys jet washed it, cleaned all the bottom off, and then it was moved to where it was going to be staying for the duration, and the work was going to be done from the water's edge and put in a corner and then put on its stands. I cleaned it a month ago and there was thousands of barnacles. They're only sanding for the next 2 days, and CopperCoat UK, Jason, is out on Wednesday, tomorrow afternoon. Fingers crossed, everything will be good. Looking here, those little white dots that you can see are where the barnacles used to be, and you can see there is just hundreds and hundreds and maybe thousands of them on there. So the boat's chocked and nice and safe, and the guys got straight on to sanding half of the boat on day one. It's day two. They've done half the sanding old CopperCoat off and they're going to do the rest of it today, and then hopefully they'll start painting tomorrow. The paint and all the equipment had arrived from the UK. I'd put it on the top of the boat for keeping it nice and dry and keeping it safe. In there was all the paint, everything to apply it to the bottom of the boat. So the guys used some blue tape to protect the gel coat for when they start the painting. Hey, it's paint day. Don't think so, it's going to be raining. So I'm just going around switching all the stopcocks to stop any water draining through and running onto the paint. But I broke a stopcock, so I've got to replace that. It's a boat. It looks beautiful and sunny now, but we're forecast 2 lots of rain, so I'm going to do no painting today. But the guys are putting a little skirt on. I know it sounds like a small skirt, but it's probably the most effective because the bigger skirt will come on and actually touch, when the wind blows, it'll actually touch onto the paint and ruin it. So this is going, and where there's more water coming, they will put double on. So we've got that because the anchor locker, when it rains, fills up, and you can see a bit of water dripping there already. Here's Jason from Aquarius Marine Coatings, who are the suppliers of CopperCoat, and what he's doing here is he's rolling up balls of tape and putting it under the skirt to just push it out a little bit, so when the rain goes on it falls straight off and not runs down the boat and onto the newly painted CopperCoat. Okay, it's all go today because Dawa is vacuuming, hoovering, whatever you call it. Sienna? Schooling. Such a happy girl doing schooling, and we're just getting ready to paint. It absolutely looks terrible out here, but I've checked the weather and it's supposed to be good, so fingers crossed.
I'm Jason Kenny from Aquarius Marine Coatings. We manufacture CopperCoat Antifoul. We're here reapplying CopperCoat to an existing old CopperCoat treatment, and the hull has been prepared with coarse sanding back to a sound and solid substrate with all of the green verdigris abraded away. The hull has then been thoroughly washed and brushed to remove all dust and salts, and we are now just masking up, getting ready to start painting.
What grade of sandpaper did you use?
Anything between 60 and 180 grit would be absolutely fine. Whatever is locally available. I think the guys used 80 grit.
Yeah. Great, thank you. What we're doing now is doing the CopperCoat resin without the copper in it, and what we're going to do is paint that onto the boat. That's the first layer that's going to go on the sanded substrate. It's just an extra adhesive layer for peace of mind. So what's that you're putting in there now, Jason?
This is the hardener.
The hardener?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maple syrup consistency epoxy hardener, into which we add the base resin, which is a little bit like thin mayonnaise. This will all mix together very quickly and easily because there's no copper involved at this stage.
Yeah. And how long will that last before it becomes...
At this temperature, probably 25 minutes to half an hour.
25 minutes before
it... And 2 people will use this probably in 15 minutes.
So 2 people in 15 minutes. Okay, great.
Small amount of isopropanol thinners, because this is only a very thin layer we're applying, just for good measure. A little bit of isopropanol, a little bit.
So why are you putting this on and not the one with the copper straight away?
Just because this will soak into the surface. We're currently seeing a lot of repaints of boats which have had CopperCoat on for 15 or 20 years, and it stands to reason that the surface of the old CopperCoat is going to be somewhat deteriorated, and so this will soak into the surface and help stabilise it, ready for a new coating. And it just means that all of the old CopperCoat doesn't need to be removed, which is the plan, because we want to try and minimise the end of life impact of our product.
So it's just a really thin coat.
Just a thin coat.
What type of roller are you using for that?
Short pile mohair roller.
What, sorry?
Short pile mohair. So sometimes called gloss pile, because they can be used for gloss paint.
Okay. Now let's see how you mix it with the actual copper going in itself.
Copper powder going in.
So it's 1 bag.
1 bag of copper per bottle of hardener, per jar of resin.
And how long do you mix that for?
You shouldn't be mixing for more than about 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. 2 minutes for the whole process. Mixing the resin as well as the copper powder is about a 2-minute process. Any more than that and all you're doing is wasting time when you should be painting, and if you're using a mechanical mixer you can be whisking air bubbles into it, which is not helpful.
So you should always do this by hand.
I prefer it by hand because you can feel if there's any copper in the corner.
Yeah.
You can. The machines are heavy; they can overspill the bucket, in which case you've wasted some expensive material. Whereas you can feel with a stick. There we go. That is nicely combined. It's all the same colour all the way down.
Yeah.
That is now mixed and ready to go.
Great. So we've had a lot of emails over the years saying that the boatyards didn't mix it enough, and they should be mixing it all the time and have one dedicated person to do it. But as you can see, that is a myth, that you don't need to do that. And you don't need to keep mixing it.
You don't need to keep mixing it, no. We don't overfill the roller trays, so the roller trays get emptied fairly readily, which means you're back to your mixing bucket nice and quickly, so it hasn't had much time to settle.
Okay. Yeah, so you used about a quarter, not even a quarter there, probably a quarter.
Going on to slightly tacky CopperCoat resin, this first coat is going to give her a nicer level of coverage than you would normally get, which is a bonus.
Oh, great. So you're doing it still while it's tacky?
So while it's tacky, there's no chance of any solvent entrapment with this because it's a solvent-free system. Solid blocks of CopperCoat will cure a 1/4 of an inch thick, no problem at all. So it doesn't matter the fact we're going straight on top.
Yeah.
In this nice dry, warm environment, we're ready to go.
Great.
This is slightly better coverage than you would normally expect if you're overpainting, say white gel coat that had just been sanded.
Okay. What it looks like after the first copper coat goes on with copper in it, because that'd be the second one. The first one was with the resin. First coat's on. They're now starting doing the second coat. So this is the second coat of CopperCoat going on now. It's looking good. The mix that they do, they put about a quarter of that mix into the tray, and the guys are working so fast that they don't need to mix it back up again. If they're working a bit slower, what you might need to do, if it's about 15 minutes, is go back, re-stir it, and then put it into your tray and then apply it that way. I've just been observing the guys. They're working really hard and really quick, and I'm thinking a lot of what seems to be going wrong is they think it's like painting on normal anti-foul, but it's not. You have to work really hard and really keep going. You can't sit down, have a break, have a cup of coffee and then carry on. Once you start, you just got to keep going and get loads of CopperCoat, or just use all the CopperCoat up until it's all done. That's the third coat going on now, and we think that we'll probably get another 2 coats out of it to make 5 in total. So here's an example of them having to remix it. Okay, so that was interesting because we've taken a little bit longer, so we put it back into the bucket and give it a good stir to mix it all back up again. Because you don't want to be...
No, last coat, you don't want to be...
Last coat, no copper in it, so that's what we're doing. We finished, and you can see the difference in the colour there. It looks great. There's a bug just walking on it. I'll have to try and get that off, but it looks good. So here we are, the whole boat is now finished. But what I have to say is that once the guys started with the undercoat to start with, they never stopped. Didn't stop for a break, didn't go for lunch even though it was over lunchtime, and they just continually went around the boat. Once they'd finished, they just mixed the next one and just kept going. And I think that was maybe the difference between this application and all the previous applications. From start to finish, I think it was about 4.5 hours. And that was 4 people constantly working and doing 1 undercoat and 5 applications with the copper in it. Okay, so this is what a boat looks like when in the hard, when you've got lots of work to do. If Kim could see this now, she'd go mad. Oh, what are you doing? Monday, this is day 3, so it went on Friday, dried Saturday, Sunday, and as you can see, it's got a nice silky sheen to it, and that's what you want it to be looking like. So what we're doing now is we're going to sand it with 380/400 grit, and that's to burnish it, and that's to bring the copper out. Okay, so we've just done this little section now. We just burnished it and we're wiping it down. I'm just going to give a check, just seeing how much, if we have to do more or less of sanding, and that's what we're checking to do now. But it's looking really good, and wow, look at this, it's really super nice and smooth. There's the old patch that has been sanded but not painted yet, so we're going to paint those, let it dry and then burnish that, and then we're done. So if you look here, this is so smooth. He's gone a little bit over the top on sanding that. This area here is good enough, but up here you can see it's slightly darker. This is not good enough. This still needs a little bit more sanding. If you get it like this, if you do it like that, if you try and get the sanding like this, it's going to take you 3 days to sand the whole boat. So I had a walk around the boatyard to look at other boats that had CopperCoat. This was done about a year ago, and you can see that it just isn't sanded. See how rough it looks? It should have been sanded a lot better than this.
It looks amazing. It looks very smooth. Excited to get her back in the water. So Simon, the boat is a bit of a tip.
I've already taken a video of it already.
Oh, did you? I thought this was bad. I don't think it's ever looked this bad before. I'm doing everything I can to resist starting picking up because I really can't handle the boat being this much of a mess. It's really bad. Oh, I just saw there is a hole straight through the boat. Look at this. So that must be one of the stopcocks that Simon broke when he was closing it. And then, oh, look at my bedroom. Man, what a mess. that's open for some reason. Even the bathroom is a mess. Oh well. Back in the water, and I can get her all back in shape and making her look better again. Gosh, I really feel emotional. I haven't been on the boat all week, and I came back to get some clothes, and it's hard, like when she's not in the water. I miss her. So, and unfortunately we're putting her back in the water and then flying to England. But at least in England I'm so far away, it's not like I can be on the boat, so. Well, let's hope this all goes well.
Friday the 13th, and we're splashing today. We've been ready for a couple of days, but the yard here is really busy, so we're going out in 2 hours, and the CopperCoat is finished. It's been finished for a couple of days now. I'm really happy with it. It looks different from the last ones. It's got this little sheen on it. It's nice and smooth. The guys worked really hard on applying it and then sanding it. Got the patches all sorted out, so everything is great. I'm really happy, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the results in about 2 months. So thank you CopperCoat for coming over. Thank you. Visit our website for 7 tips for a good application of CopperCoat. Some of those tips we haven't covered in this video. Get the link below. It wasn't all work and no play. Jason and Tina, Jason's wife, invited us out for a meal and some drinks. And we ended up in a place that had a mechanical bull, and we both, Jason and I, had a go at riding it. I'll let you decide who was the best. All I want to say is it was great meeting Jason and Tina. They're just wonderful people. Thank you again. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and what we're going to do in 2 months time, we're going to put out another video on seeing how CopperCoat bottom does. So please subscribe and keep following us.